Picked up the snow and flurries today. I waited for it to stop. It's 11:30. It finally stopped, but it's 30 degrees out. And tomorrow's going to be in the 20s. And I have this bow. It's like got the 6 and 7% moisture in the limbs, and it's good to be cooked. And I wasn't going to have it sit around. I want to get it done. So made sure that adjustable gutter I have is the right length for it. That's why it's up there. I'm going to take it off. I have the coals set up. There's foil underneath the ends built up, and then coals on top, so it can kind of adjust for that contour of the limbs. So the jig's going on the side, lighten it up, and when it's going, we're going to start cooking. I'm not messing around with a butane Bic lighter. Too cold out. Got the torch. Did you see that? That was crazy. There it is. It's got a leak. Developed a leak. Well, let it leak out in the pool. Well, that was pretty exciting. I have used the torch to light coals a million times, and I always know that when I put it on, I make sure it's snug. Well, apparently on this one here, the seal went bad, and it had a leak. So whenever something happens, you got to try and stay calm, but react fast. Anything at all. You know, if your grill propane goes on fire, get away. Get away. You know, it's liable to blow up. And the little hand torch, throw it away. Throw it, you know, throw it away. Get rid of it. So if you look, you see it bubbling. It's bubbling from where it's screwed snug on that bottle. I'll fish it out later. You know, let it empty out. I'm going to buy a new kit. I'm not even going to play with seals or anything. I'm just going to buy a new torch head. All right? Pretty exciting. And now we got the coals. They're starting to turn white. And I'm going to set up the jig, and we're going to start the fire hardening. So if that ever happens to like a grill, you see I always have fire extinguishers underneath. Get away. Grab the fire extinguisher. Blast it with the fire extinguisher. Don't get out. Get away. You know, and you never want that to blow up, okay? But you see I have the fire extinguisher. So always be safe. You don't want to get hurt. Accidents happen. Things happen. Well, here we go. Once it gets done, we'll put it on. Okay, remember the important things to have are these big fireplace gloves and a stick. And whenever you move this, have those big fireplace gloves on in case it slips and you're able to grab it anywheres and not burn your hands. The other is the stick to move the coals to the contour of the wood. And how you measure the heat again is you hold your hand right under the riser. 1, 2, 3. At the third count, it should be hot that you want to pull your hand away. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Pretty good. 1, 2, 3. This side's a little hot. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put this side up a little bit. See what's great about this drill is you can always fine tune it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3. That's how Keith Shannon came up with the height. He came up with the height was you put your palm up underneath the bow limb, and on the third count, you should want to be able to pull your hand away because it's too hot. You got to have common sense. You're not going to burn your hand. And everybody's hand is a little difference in sensitivity. But for the most part, that's a great method because you can't use thermometers. You can't measure the coals. We got a cold 30-degree day today with snow on the ground. And the distance between the coals and that wood would definitely be different than a 80-degree day, okay? So now we got it adjusted. We're watching the smoke. It's turned, the coals are still cooking. We got to keep monitoring the heat. And the other thing is we got to make sure that the wood don't smoke. The idea is to get it cooked. Wood combust at 300 degrees. Fire hardening takes place around 240. So we want to make sure that the wood is cooking slow and low. And we want to get a nice brown color. Hear the whistles? It's around 12 o'clock. That's 12 o'clock whistles. We'll use that as a start time. Usually takes 2.5 hours, depending on wind, temperature, a lot of different things. And we'll see what happens. So the color is the most important thing. With hickory, you get a nice dark brown. If you get a little scorching, you're trying not to get the scorching, but usually when you till it, that'll come off if you have a little hot spot here or there. Okay, we got a lot of high wind gust again today. And we've been cooking this bow now for about 15 minutes or so. And I already knocked off ashes with that stick. And I put more coals down, and you see how close it is, right? It's pretty close, because the colder it is, I guess you have to keep it lower to the coals to get that right temperature, you know, with your hand underneath, that 1, 2, 3. So now I'm going to do is just check clamps. Look at that, it's loose, they're loose, look. Okay, so knock off ashes, add coals, and check the tightness of the clamps. That wood from the heat shrunk already, and I had to snug up the clamps, and it's only been 15 minutes. Okay, I took it off because I had to add a couple of screws on. I knocked off some ashes, added some more coals, but I just want to show you it's just starting to color because of the cold. And this split here, okay, I believe because it's, you know, so many pounds right now, these should sand out when we go to tilling them. I had to add an extra screw to lower this side a little bit. You can see the new screw it's sitting on. And added coals, and we're going to watch it. It's got a little lower. It's going to take quite a bit of time today because of the cold temperature and the high wind. And that's okay. Got time. I went in and had some hot coffee to get me through for a while. And we just got to watch it. It's about that hour mark. And what I did was I moved the clamps just over a couple inches just to, even though it's not really colored that much, I moved the clamps over like an inch or two just to get the spots underneath the clamps a little heat treatment. All right, so I added coals, I checked the height. With the wind, it's ashing up pretty quick, and I keep adding coals. It's going to be at least a bag and a half a coal day today in this cold temperature and high winds. Okay, so every once in a while, knock the ashes off, add coals, check the clamps, make sure they're snug. Okay, we got more coals. It's just a little after that hour mark. It's going to be a while. And that wind, we got a little high wind gust and very cold out. And hopefully we'll get a nice fire hardened bow no matter how long it takes. Well, it's been about an hour and a half, and I'm going to show you the colorings. We got a little too much heat here. That's what the stick's for. We got to move some of these coals that are over here out of the way. But let me show you what it looks like underneath. From the riser to the right-hand side, you got good color. Tips could use a little more. From the center to the left, tips could use more color. Okay, charring the wood does absolutely nothing. You need the fire hardening. You need the wood, that heat to go through the wood. You need the wood to cook. So what we're doing now is, what I'm doing now is the ends, because, you know, they're curved up because of the backset jig. I lowered them, and they're going to go for like 20 minutes on each side. So it'll be a little longer. We're going to try and cook the ends a little better. Okay, we're almost at that 2 hour mark. And remember I said that the time isn't it, it's the color of the wood. So I cooked the left side a little bit on the outer limb. And now we're cooking the outer limb on this side. With the cold temperatures, it's hard to get the heat to cook the ends because it's curved up. So it's going to be closer to a 3 hour. Like I said, you don't want it scorched, you want it brown, but I'm fighting wind and cold today. Okay, now that these coals are catching, I can adjust the heat. Okay, so it's just going to take a little longer today, that's all. Okay, it's been 2.5 hours and a bag and a half of coals, and it's still got to go a little more. The end on the left a little more than the rest of it, so we're letting it cook. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes. Like I said, the time isn't important, just giving you how long it's taking because it's so cold and windy out here. So this is going to stay on here. It looks fairly well cooked. It's going to stay on there while I clean up. 15-20 minutes. I'll take it off, I'll put it on the table, and I'll show you the color. At 2 hours and 50 minutes, it's cooked. And I'll tell you what, it's cold, really cold out. So once this clamp's cool, I don't think it's going to take too long for it to cool. I'll take it off, I'll show you the back set. Really cold out today. And this has been cooking for 2 hours and 45 minutes. Kept on knocking ash off. Kept on adding coals. Kept on checking the right height for the heat. And look, we have just a little bit of spring back, which we never have. Never have that spring back. I guess because of the cold temperature, it just didn't get cooked all the way through. But I'll show you what we have. Got some browning in the fade outs. Some dark browning here. Browning towards the ends. Not a lot towards the ends. Well, this one's got it, but this one, not a lot towards the end. Let me show you the back set. Okay, check out the back set. Got a lot of back set on it. If it looks crooked, because it is crooked, maybe a little better. How does that look? Okay. So now that I cooked it, there's like no moisture in here. All the moisture's out. And yeah, this is warm water. It's too cold for me to be having cold water. We're going to hydrate this. I'm going to hydrate this a couple of times, and it's going in the house. Okay. That fire hardening just takes all the moisture out. Like I said, 2 hours and 45 minutes. It's dry. It's cooked. You know, maybe it just didn't penetrate as much on the ends. But it's done, no doubt about it. So, I think this is the temperature. This is about how it's going to be now. I don't know if this is the first day of winter. Yesterday was the first day of winter. Official day of winter. Okay, but we want to hydrate this good. Okay, this is, I'm going to tiller this down to like 35, 37 pounds. This is going to be a bow for me to shoot 3D tournaments. And there's a little crack. Here's a crack here in the fade out, and these limbs are a little thicker. Putting my nail in, hopefully it'll be able to sand out. All right, hopefully be able to sand out. It's in the fade out. And worst goes to worst, I'm going to put a little AE40 in there and let it dry before I tiller it, just to fill a crack up. This is the one I took down to a growth ring out in the rain. You know, it started drizzling, and when it started getting wet, I was able to see the growth rings a little more clearly and take it down. All right, so this is my 3D bow. I might, I'll have to measure it again. I forget how long it is. And I may take it down an inch or two more. Shorten it up a little bit before I tiller it and put, I'm going to put buffalo horn tips on this one. Buffalo horn tips. Okay, that's the end of this video. Next will be tillering, shaping, and shooting.